to learn from fellow parliamentarians and experts in this regard. This morning's panel aptly focuses on sustainable cities are healthy cities. And my presentation highlights Philippine efforts and innovations towards better quality of air and life as prescribed by our own laws, as well as the international commitments from the Paris Agreement and the 2030 SDGs. The World Health Organization estimates that 6.5 million deaths are caused by air pollution annually, making it the world's largest environmental health risk. That's a quote. The air pollutant most closely linked to death and disease is particulate matter less than 2.5 micrometers in diameter, or PM 2.5, which is emitted from motor vehicles, power plants, industrial processes, and the combustion of biomass, coal, and kerosene. One other pollutant is the ground-level ozone, which causes significant respiratory illness and is formed due to methane from waste dumps and diesel vehicle emissions. In the Philippines, about 1 in 4 deaths are attributed to air pollution. The safe level for PM 2.5 is 10 micrograms per cubic meter of air in a year. But the recorded annual average of these pollutants in Manila, the most urbanized and densely populated city in the Philippines, is at 17 micrograms per cubic meter, or 70% than the recommended safe level. The number one source of this pollution comes from vehicles, which in 2013, the Philippines registered to have 7,690,038 units nationwide, much more now. Air quality and climate change is relational because factors that cause air pollution, such as the combustion of fossil fuels, the sources of high CO2 emissions, are all connected. We are therefore supporting both climate and health goals at once when we implement policies and measures that improve air quality. Way back in 1999, we enacted Republic Act 8749, the Philippine Clean Air Act, one of the first laws I authored in my first term as senator, which provides the policy framework for a country's air quality management program. This law seeks to uphold the right of every Filipino to clean and quality air by reducing air pollution from stationary and mobile sources. It adheres to the provision in the Philippine Constitution that grants the Filipino the right to a balanced and healthy ecology in accord with the rhythm and harmony of nature. The Clean Air Act encourages cooperation and self-regulation from and among citizens and industries. It emphasizes compliance and accountability to the government's environmental rules and regulations. This law had enabled our Environment Agency to conduct 2 monitoring programs of air pollution from stationary and mobile sources. The Bantay Chimnea, which monitors industrial emissions, the Bantay Tambutso for vehicular emissions. These are Filipino words. Recognizing the contribution of vehicles to air pollution, our environmental agency updated the emission limits from Euro 2 to Euro 4 emission standards and Euro 3 for motorcycles and tricycles. The agency had also adopted United Nations regulations for processing certificates of conformity. The law also provided for the preparation of an annual national air quality status report through monitoring stations. It also allowed for the designation of what we call the airsheds, which refer to geographical areas with similar weather or meteorological conditions and sources of air pollution, affecting the interchange and diffusion of air pollution in the surrounding atmosphere within the entire country. To date, there are 98 air quality monitoring stations and 22 airsheds nationwide. The law provides a solid foundation for other legislative measures on environment protection and climate change adaptation and mitigation. It heavily complements the Renewable Energy Law in 2008 in pursuing a more affordable and clean source of energy, as well as the first ever Green Jobs Act in the whole world in transitioning our industrial sectors towards green growth. we pursue the development path of a low-carbon economy because this is the only course for us to be climate resilient. In 2012, our carbon emissions registered at a negligible amount compared to other countries, only at 157.6 million metric tons of carbon dioxide, equivalent to only 0.33% of global GHG emissions. But we still choose this path because we have learned from the mistakes of the past. Years of industrialization have brought us to an unhealthy state of the environment, yet tolerating this very behavior would not at all change the grim fate for the Philippines. Our vulnerability and resilience as a nation has given us a voice to represent and lead other highly vulnerable countries in climate negotiations. When everyone else found it adequate to set the global warming limit to 2 degrees Celsius, we pushed it even further. We encouraged greater and more ambitious climate action by setting the limit to 1.5 degrees. We are also finalizing and set to submit this year our nationally determined contributions as part of our commitment to the Paris Agreement. And I commit to do everything in my power to ensure that the Philippines NDC will be 1.5 degrees Celsius compatible. Even though our NDC is conditioned on the availability of financial resources to pursue technology development and transfer and capacity building, we have already espoused in our national development plans the strategies to achieve our mitigation commitments. The 2017 to 2022 Philippine Development Plan, or the PDP, has embedded various mitigation strategies in the energy, transport, and industry sectors, which include the promotion of green technology innovations, the institution of appropriate incentives to intensify the use of more energy-efficient technologies, further development, use, and use of renewable energy in line with the provisions of the RE law, the promotion of climate-smart infrastructure and designs according to the building code, which incorporates resilience in engineering designs, the promotion of low-carbon, energy-efficient, and environment-friendly urban transport systems, the promotion of sustainable consumption and production through the use of practices and technologies that would help attain economic goals and environment standards that will facilitate the move towards a low-carbon economy. We knew that understanding how to calculate and keep track of our emissions would be key to our mitigation goals. So in 2014, our government issued Executive Order 174, which institutionalized the Philippine Greenhouse Gas Inventory Management and Reporting System. Our newly formed Climate Change Commission, which was created by law, which I also authored in my second term, and one of our commissioners is present here today, Commissioner Herrera, is a Climate Change Commission. It provides a direction and guidance in the accounting and the reporting of GHG emissions from identified key sectors. The Climate Change Commission is also responsible for developing a system for archiving, reporting, monitoring, evaluation of GHG inventories in all sectors, as well as facilitating continuous capacity building initiatives in the conduct of GHG inventories to ensure application of updated technologies. The CCC is supported by other government agencies in conducting GHG inventories in concerned sectors and may also involve local governments, academia, private and public institutions to participate, complement, and assist in the implementation. We also have the National Greening Program of the Department of Environment, accomplishing 1.7 million hectares from 2011 to 2016 and targeting 1.2 million hectares more of greening from 2017 to 2022. And we have an executive order which also expanded the coverage of the NGP to cover the remaining 7.1 million hectares of unproductive, denuded, and degraded forest lands nationwide until 2028. This continues to be a vital component of our mitigation action. Forests, as you know, act as carbon sinks and therefore help improve the quality of our air while providing livelihood opportunities to our local communities. Mitigation measures would largely include reduction of black carbon from diesel-fed vehicles, municipal solid waste sector, household cooking and domestic heating, oil and natural gas production, and agriculture. And even though we are still in the consultation phase of ratifying the Kigali Amendment to the Montreal Protocol, which seeks to phase down HFCs in the refrigeration and air conditioning sector, we recognize that this would certainly strengthen our call to limit global warming by 1.5 degrees. As parliamentarians, we all bear the responsibility of steering our country forward through fostering a policy environment where laws can unlock national potential and serve as a foundation for inclusive and sustainable development where our people could thrive and prosper. For 3 years in a row, I've worked to ensure that the national budget as chair of the Committee on Finance would truly cater to the needs of our people in light of climate change. My role as chair of the Finance Committee of the Philippine Senate has allowed me, alongside my colleagues, to enact budget provisions for climate adaptation and mitigation, such as the establishment of multi-hazard early warning systems, rainwater harvesting, seed banks, mangroves, rooftop gardens, roadside ditches, sea walls, and even to practice drills for response and preparedness. The power of the purse rests on Congress, and I emphasize this because we cannot achieve our goals without the necessary budgetary support for our projects and programs. And in light of our new realities and challenges due to a warming planet, we are expected to do more for the safety and future of our people, our country, and our planet. Thank you.